Welcome back to the garage, everybody. Glad you could join me again. Kind of fill you in on what I've been working on since the last time, and not a whole lot because it's been really cold, so I haven't been out here very much. But I did tough it out a little bit. Basically, I went through where in the rear passenger area, where the rocker panel continues along, I went through and knocked everything down with a wire brush and painted it with some rust encapsulator paint, using either that or POR 15 or something would be a recommendation, just to seal up what was some surface rust. There was a little bit of pitting. I found a couple of holes through the bottom that I'll have to clean up eventually, but I can get that after I get the floor in. It's not just on the bottom side of the rocker, so only something you'd see like on a creeper dolly or if the car's up on a lift or something. But yeah, definitely want to get all the rust out that I can while I can get to it. It'll just be easier for that particular spot to get it once I get the floor in and everything's shored up. Worked on cutting out the frame horns for the transmission. I haven't got them fully cleaned up yet, just getting started. I'll probably finish cleaning that up once I get the body off the frame after the floor's off of it as well. Got the passenger side there too. And then I was mocking up the frame reinforcement piece that I'm putting in there. Just wanted to strengthen it up a little bit. So this is going to be getting a big block engine in there with a bit more power, and it had that ding on the passenger frame that I need to get patched up. I just figured might as well weld in a little bit of the support. But yeah, we'll get going here. I want to really give her the beans the next couple of days. Well, we got a couple of warm temperature days before we have some snow moving in for the weekend, and the temperatures drop back down into the low teens, maybe a little lower than that overnight. So yeah, I'll get this time lapse set up and get going on cleaning up the last of the spot welds around the edge where I cut off the previous floor, and getting all the car surface prepared for the new floor to go in. So figure by the time I go to bed tomorrow night, I should be able to have the new floor set in place. So I'm pretty excited about that, and follow along and see if I can get it done. Thanks. Well, I ran into a snag, as I expected I'd find something. So as I'm working on the driver's side here, and I was cleaning off the original floor piece off of this upper flange, once I got further back than this point, I started to see a whole lot of pitting and Swiss cheese. So you can see the metal's pretty heavily pitted, and then you can see the non-factory holes. This one right there is part of a factory hole that has just completely rusted through, and then all the rest of the holes are just deterioration of their own. So I grabbed up some sheet metal and bent up my own patch panel for that one. So I've got to get that welded into place here. So I got something for the back portion of the floor to attach to, because that's how that floor piece attaches. It's got the inner rocker panel that goes up against it, and then you weld to the bottom and the top flange all the way around. So it's getting all that cleaned out, and yeah, I only managed like this 2-foot section here. But yeah, I need to get the new piece welded in place, and then the remainder of the flange that's here on the wheel well, and there might be some weld repairs needed there. And then kind of the same thing over here on the passenger side. You can, might be hard with the light, but you can see some of the pitting, and there's a few smaller holes there. So I might be doing that same thing over here, making a new flange for right there and tying that in. So yeah, gonna be a little slower. Oh well. Actually the bottom flange right here looks in really good shape, except for a couple spots right there. You can see the holes. That's what I was seeing earlier. Yeah, it looks to me more like, you know, this window was down or something. Rain came in and rotted this inner lip from the top side, but not the bottom. So it's kind of interesting. As I've been looking at the car, you know, I got surface rust here on the inside of the roof, but for the most part, the top side's in really good shape. It seems like most of the water damage is either in areas where, you know, it would have pooled when it rained when this thing was parked in the field or wherever it was, and rust from the bottom side. And the passenger side, generally speaking, has been worse than the driver's side from what I've seen. So I don't know if that was facing the weather, stayed wetter, I don't know. But yeah, it more seems like if it was sitting in a field or yard for a long time, like the dew and moisture coming up, rotting out the sheet metal from the bottom side, where the top side stuff looks really good. So, and also not in the areas where, like, I am used to seeing stuff with the trucks I worked on usually, where you see rust like up in the wheel wells, arches from underneath. So like from road salt and stuff, and, you know, winter weather areas. This thing coming from Texas, it didn't really see that. So I think it's more just sitting in a field for maybe a couple of decades, you know, getting a lot of moisture and dew coming up from the bottom side. But yeah, it's going to take a little longer than I was hoping to get everything prepped for the floor, but I'll just keep working at it, and we'll see. Whenever I can get the floor in, I'll get it in. But yeah, I need to not get in a hurry and skip over these holes, because once the rust really gets established like that, especially in the heavy pitted areas, it's really hard to get it out. I mean, you can wire wheel it and use some of those chemical rust converters and stuff, but something pitted that bad, it's thin anyway, so the right things to do is just to cut it out and put your patches in. So anyway, I think I'm probably gonna end that tonight. It's starting to cool off, getting kind of late, so get back out here tomorrow and bring you guys along with me. Hey, welcome back to my garage, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. got a little bit of an update. Worked on a little bit of stuff on the car since the last video. Not a whole lot because we had a really nasty cold snap and I just hadn't felt like getting out here. But what I've been working on recently is just cleaning up the flange from where I cut the floor out. So I've got a cross brace bar welded in after I cut it up, and just been working where the flange on the toe board section meets the floor. And then I started in yesterday, which I got some time lapse from that, but I didn't film an intro for it. But I was cleaning up the flange here and here where the inner rocker panel part of the new floor goes. And when I got past this point further on back, it became apparent pretty quickly that it wasn't going to work. So I fabbed up a new little channel piece to weld in here. So I got something nice to weld the new floor to. So we need to finish cutting the last bit of the flange off and cleaning up the wheel tub on this side. Then you do the same thing over on the other side. Sorry about the light there, but yeah, it's going along pretty good. Since the last time, I came out here and cut off the frame horns just to do kind of a quick mock-up for the frame reinforcement. I grabbed the one from Summit. I was waffling back and forth on it, and then I decided with that ding that's on the passenger side frame rail that I got to repair in the frame. Might as well put on the reinforcement, especially since I got the big block going in there. It's going to be seeing a little more stress than it was originally designed for. But kind of cleaned those frame rails up a little bit, but not going to weld that in just yet. It'll be soon. But I want to get this floor in. Got a couple nice days of decently warm weather. I think the thermometer over here is showing like 58, almost 60 degrees, so that'll be pretty nice. Once it starts to cool off and the sun goes down, I'll fire up the little infrared heater here. But that combined with that halogen light really, when I'm standing in the car, gives me enough heat to really be comfortable. So anyway, it's time to get in there and start getting after it, get everything set up so you guys see what I'm working on. Well, that's taking quite a while to get through those spot welds. I don't want to use my spot weld cutter because I have a habit of poking through the backside, and I don't really want to poke a bunch of holes in the wheel well here. But it's just taking a bit, so what I think I'm going to do is take my die grinder here and swap out this grinding wheel, this cutoff wheel, and put a carbide burr on there. That way I can, I can pretty easily see the spot welds, but this thing's just taking too long to get there. And I thought the little belt sander here would knock stuff down a little quicker than it did. I've got some pretty aggressive grit on there, but it's also taken a long time to make the metal thin enough for me to peel it up. And I really don't want to mess up or risk messing up the substrate here. I want to keep as much metal as thick as I can in the wheel well to weld to when I put the new floor in place. So yeah, I'm gonna go swap out for that carbide burr, and that can remove metal really quickly, so that's why I've kind of avoided it. I've had a little box of them for a bit, but they kind of bounce around and get a little imprecise if you're not paying attention and staying on top of it. But yeah, just for speed, we'll see how it goes. I'll make a test run on a couple of them, and if I get the speed I'm looking for, I'll be in business to get this stuff cleaned up. I want to take as much advantage of the heat wave as I can before it gets cold again and snows. So yeah, I'll get that burr swapped out, and then we'll get back at it. Well, that carbide burr was the ticket. Managed to finish up the back spot on that driver's side wheel well where the flange was and get up in that corner. Got everything cleaned up there. I work on the passenger side. I got the upper flange cleaned off. I still have the remnants on the lower piece to take care of, and then the little bit that's left on the wheel well. So that might be probably another hour or so to get those two cleaned up. For the lower flange, I'm just gonna grab a heavier grit flap disc tomorrow, and when I get out here, I'll just grind that off real quick because it's easier to get to. That's the fastest way to get it. But yeah, I've got maybe 30 inches or so of the flange to clean up from the old floor, and then on the toe board, there's a little bit of that flange that's left here, but since there's a Swiss cheese going on, and I already got a new toe board panel, which I got stored up on the roof of the car here, I'm just going to make a patch panel from that one, just cut a section, because the hump is good actually. I don't need that whole width. All I need is the driver's side, under the pedals, and then there's one section on the passenger side, that rectangular piece over there by the A-pillar. And that's pretty much all this needs. The rest of it's really solid. It's pretty pitted right here by the pedals, but all the rest of the floor is actually in pretty good shape. So anyway, I'll grind this back a little bit, just enough to clear room for the floor, but like leave it basically in place just to locate everything. And I got a little bit of stuff left to grind off on the passenger side on that flange, where there was a patch panel done for the passenger foot portion on the floor. That was welded to it, so I need to grind a little bit of that off from the previous owner's repair. But yeah, once that's done, it's pretty much ready to jack the front of the car up, slide that floor on after I get some new body mounts put on the brackets on the frame. But yeah, I can lift it up, slide it in, drop it down, and start throwing some tacks on here. So getting pretty excited about that, getting close, because I've been staring at this thing for months now, and I'm ready to put that in the car. So anyway, I'll be back out here tomorrow and we'll keep going. Hello again, everybody. Picking this back up again. It's been a few days since I've been out here, probably 5 or so. It got real cold, and I haven't got everything insulated yet, so I did measure everything up, so I'm eventually going to break down and get the insulation and get the garage taken care of. But until then, keep working on the car whenever it's warm, or relatively warm. So I got a nice warm day today. So picking back up, kind of in summary from where I left off before, I got that new section of flange for about 14, 15 inches or so back here, welded in place. It was really badly pitted there, so I got that in place. I got where the flange for the floor meets up with the wheel well cleaned up on this side, so I've just got to clean that same section on the wheel well on the passenger side, fix anything if there's any rust holes in there when I peel it off, and then get the lower flange portion cleaned up. I've got the upper one on here, and I did find some more rust pits in this piece, but it's not near as bad, so I'm just gonna spot patch that one instead of cut out that long section like I did on the driver's side. But yeah, just I think I'll start and just focus on trying to clean up the rest of the flanges with what I get done today. So yeah, we'll get back going and get some more time lapse going so you guys can watch. that didn't go too bad. Yeah, that burr, it's not so great for the straight edges where I can get to with a sander and other stuff, but when I get up in this really tight corner here, those last few spot welds, that burr is the ticket to get those things cleaned off. Man, it reaches up where nothing else can. Like with this, cutoff wheel that I was using to kind of grind that out, that works really well. But you get up here and it's the same width, and I really don't want to be nicking my frame a whole bunch, on the back side as I'm trying to get in here and clean up those spot welds and get that, residual piece of the flange thinned up so I can peel it off of there and fatigue it off with the pliers. So, yeah, I've been really happy with that burr, and I'm glad I got one. But anyway, I think that'll conclude the prep portion, and the next video on bodywork stuff will be getting that new floor put in. So stay tuned for that, and thanks everybody for watching.